what makes an American muscle car amazing, and in particular, the V8 motor. There's a lot of you out there who get it, there's some who don't. I want to share what makes owning a V8 awesome. So you guys can see behind me, I've owned a few performance muscle type cars. I've owned several V8s over my lifetime. I didn't grow up in the 70s when all the amazing Challengers, Cudas, Chevelles, Novas, Mustangs, you name it, were coming out. I was after that, but I've had a chance to drive a lot of them. My dad has a 1970 GTO Judge. I've driven several older muscle cars with a V8, and a V8's just been something I've always grown up with. I grew up listening to that music from that time era of the 70s and a lot of old rock and roll. And I want to set the record straight in terms of maybe helping people understand what makes the V8 so amazing. Because I see comments on my channel, I see comments out there, but hey, electric this is faster, electric this is faster, the Tesla Plaid, all of that, which is great. Do V8 owners like speed? Yeah, I think a lot of us do. Is it the primary driving factor? No, it's not. What makes a V8 amazing is it brings back memories for a lot of people. Growing up, driving around, going to the drive-in, going to, grab a burger, going to cruise out on the town on a Friday night or Saturday night, drag races. All of those things, you know what they equal to a lot of people? Is freedom and choice. A V8 is synonymous with freedom. A V8 is synonymous with the ability to be an American, to live, to maybe push things to the edge, to not necessarily need a V8, but you want one. You want to live on the edge a little bit. And do V8 owners believe that they're the fastest thing out there? No. Do some of them try to make them be the fastest thing out there? Yeah, you have more displacement. You can create a lot of horsepower. There's more cylinders. Obviously now with turbochargers, superchargers, prochargers, electrification, there's things out there that are extremely fast. But that's not what it's about for V8 owners. A lot of these electric manufacturers are pumping in fake sound into their cars. And even a lot of manufacturers with internal combustion engines today are doing it. Honda, the BRZ, the GR86, you name it. They're pumping in sound to make cars sound, that experience, right? That visceral experience. But nothing replaces, even these electric cars with, their speakers that amplify it or whatever exhaust system they figure out. At the end of the day, what makes a V8 awesome is the feeling. The car sits there and just rumbles and shakes. Just the sound, just throwing you back in your seat. But a sound is you're being thrown back in your seat, not just being thrown back in your seat. A golf cart can throw you back in your seat if you press on the pedal hard enough. But at the end of the day, it's about the sound, it's about the feeling, it's about the touch, it's about all of the senses. And when you really look at just human interactions and elements, it's all of those senses that make us amazing. Like, could you walk around, not being able to hear? Like, what kind of a challenge is that? I can't speak to that. But there's so many things that with a V8, they resemble sounds and feelings and nostalgia. And it's just something about just feeling free, that you have more motor than you need. It can be obnoxious, it can be loud, but it's not holding you back. You press the gas, you go, you spin the tires. There's just something about freedom with V8s. And as you look at from the history of V8 up until now, with the new transition to electrification, what I don't think people understand is it also represents choice. Choice to modify cars how you want, choice to tinker on those cars. Do I think electric cars and other cars you're gonna be able to tinker on? Yeah, you can wake up in the morning and your Tesla has, 20 extra horsepower. But it's about turning a wrench. It's about being out there maybe with your son or your daughter or your dad or whoever, right? Working on those cars, restoring those cars, bringing them back to life. Now we can all still do that. We can buy used cars and bring them back. But what's sad is I feel like what's missing in all of this is kind of freedom and choice a little bit. Sure, we can choose to drive ICE cars, But can you go out and buy a brand new V8 these days, or in 5-10 years? Might be really tough.
Woo! Nice.
What I just wanted to share with you guys is when it comes to a V8, or you talk about speed in racing, oh, a Tesla Plaid is faster than this. What makes owning a V8, and in particular, let's talk about manual transmissions, amazing, is there's room for error. There's room for mistakes. It's anybody in any given day could win it. Now, when you get into an electric car, you could be watching Netflix, you could be doing whatever, and you just press. There is no skill involved in winning a race with an electric car. I'm sorry. Yes, you still have to time things right, but the instant torque makes up for so many things. But with the V8, you have to worry about traction. You have to worry about suspension. You have to worry about making sure you hit every one of your shifts correctly in a manual. And there's something challenging about that. There's something visceral about that, that a lot of things in the electric cars are just trying to fake and mimic to get you to like it. Now, I'm not saying you can't have fun in those cars. Now, I'm not saying you can't have fun in an electric car or be thrown back in your seat or have fun. You absolutely can. Look at all of the TikTokers who have jumped their Teslas or done crazy stuff in it. But I just feel when it comes to V8s, people think of memories. They think of growing up. They think of being out there with their dad. They think of drive-ins. They think of so many things that are nostalgic to them, picking up, you know, their first date or their first car, working on it with their dad. And I'm not saying you can't do that now. You still can to a certain extent. But eventually parts are going to disappear. Eventually a lot of things are going to be able to disappear to be able to work on the stuff that you've loved. And that's just what I want to help people understand. When it comes to V8, we're not always trying to win a race. Some of us, yeah, we are. Would we always like to go faster? Sure. That is part of the equation. I'm not going to deny that. So electrification, check your box. But it's that feeling. It's when you're thrown back in your seat, there's a sound that matches it. There's tires squealing. There is just torque, which electrification has, but it's a torque. All of the elements are tied into one. With electrification, you're thrown back in your seat and you just feel sick. So, but at the end of the day, it's more than just pressing a button and going fast. It's an experience. It's freedom. As dumb as that sounds, it is freedom. And people drive all across America for meetups to be free, to share their cars, to share their experience, to share how they tweaked and modify this. And sure, we can modify things to come, but they're just batteries. It's just software. And at the end of the day, will I always own a V8? Probably not. I've owned a lot of them. I'll probably adapt. I'll probably change. I like all cars and I can appreciate all cars. But I wanted to set the record straight on what makes a V8 amazing.
Welcome to Forever, man.
At the end of the day,
Dad, can I have some of these?
you can have one. Okay. Bye, sweetie.